Okay, here's a demo of MaxPy. So we're in the repository here. First thing you'll do is pip install, make it available to yourself. See, that works. And then we're going to write some code here. So we'll start by import MaxPy as MP. And first thing we do is declare a patch so that we have a patch to work with. And all of our edits are going to be modifying this patch. So I'm going to actually start with the last step, which is going to be to save this patch to a file. Just so we can test out how this works. Now, this should create a patch and save it as an empty file. So we'll start by running Python tester py. And you can see it says a new patch has been created from empty template file. There were no unknown objects that were placed. There was no anything that was placed. And then it saved this patch to this file. Go to my file explorer, and I've got a file called tester. I'll open it up, and we've got an empty file. And that's not terribly exciting. So let's start adding some items here. We're going to add an easy DAC. Make things simple for yourself. Well, let's just see how that works. I'll open this one up, and we've got our DAC object here. Cool. So we can do more complicated things. We'll do place a cycle object as well. Cycle. And so we've placed two objects here. What I'm going to do is name each of these so that they're easier to reference later. And then I'm going to, within my patch, I'm going to connect the two of them. So I'm going to connect my, so the patch.place, we've got some notation here, but you'll see it returns a list of max objects. So you can actually create multiple. We'll do that later, but to start, I'm just creating one object. And I want to connect my outs of my C, the first outlet of the cycle, to the first in of my DAC. Yeah. Okay, actually, gotta close our bracket here. Nice. And this guy, and up again. There we go. Got a cycle object connected to our easy DAC, and you can see we've got some gain. So that's fantastic. Let's try and do something a bit more interesting. So I want to connect rather than cycle, I'm going to do some buffers. And actually, I'm going to have, I have to name all of my buffers, so I'm going to name them something different. I'm going to construct a list of names. So all of my buffer objects will start with buffer, and then I'll have their name for n in, and let's just pretend like maybe I was doing some multi-channel stuff. So left front, right front, left back, and left passing, right back. Okay. And now, rather than placing just one object, I am going to place all my other objects. I'm going to place my buffer names. Let's call these B's instead of that. And now what I want to do is for every buffer that I created, I'm going to connect that buffer to my EasyDAC. That. Oh, there we go. And actually it would be nice if this thing was down here. So I'm going to do this starting position, and I'll just put it shifted downwards a little bit. Run this again, generate my code. There we go. Looks fantastic. Let's do one more thing. Let's add some filters here. So I'm going to place a bunch of how about a bunch of comb filters, and I'm gonna want 4 of these. Maybe at a later point I would change the parameters or something. So I'm gonna want 4 of these, and actually I'm gonna move these guys around a little bit. I'm gonna put this one underneath there, and then this one underneath there. Okay, so I've got my buffers, my filters, and my EasyDAC, and you'll see so far we haven't connected these things. Right, so it's skipping all the comb filters, so let's connect these guys up. So what I'm going to do is for all my filters and all my buffers and my filters, I'm going to zip up my E's and my F's. And I'm going to walk through these together, and I'm going to connect the out of each of the buffers to the in of my filter. And then here I'm going to connect the out of the filters to my DAC. Cool. All right, let's run this one. Got there outs. Try that one again. Nice, looks good. And you can see we've been given a description of what's happened, how this has been processed. We created our buffers. We connected our buffers to our comb filters, and our comb filters to our EasyDAC. And so if we open up our file, that's what we see. Pretty great. So that's a quick demo of the basic workings of MaxPy. You can do a lot more. You can, in addition to creating patches, you can also import from scratch. You can also import patches that are already existing and modify those as well. And I'll show that off in a future video.